Hey, so I'm joined today by my good friend Yoni with Getida. And Getida is one of the best and oldest companies out there for helping people recover funds that you are owed from Amazon. So very few people understand when they sell on Amazon that Amazon often loses money for you in some way or fashion. There's many different ways that they lose your money or owe you money. They lose your inventory, they mess up, they make accounting errors. Whatever it is, it happens so regularly that the average is about 1 to 3% of all of your revenue. So it ends up being a pretty significant amount as you scale your business, because if you're doing $1 million, that's $10,000 to $30,000 per year that they owe you. And if you don't have a company like Getida to get your money back, you'll just never see it, because if you don't file a claim, then you don't get your money. And you have to do it a very specific way. And I remember back when Getida first started, Max and Yoni, those guys would be at events with a booth set up, and it was the easiest sell ever, because it was like, hey, do you like free money? And it's not even free money. Yoni hates that term, or doesn't like that term as much. It's like, it's your money, right? And 100%. So you have to find a way to get plugged in and understand the process for properly tracking, finding those issues, and then applying to get it back. And Amazon makes it difficult because they don't like to give out money if they don't have to. So you have to jump through hoops. You have to fill out the right paperwork. You have to do it in a very specific way. And Getida is one of the best in the industry, if not the best, at doing that for you. So they've built up quite a business, been through some sales. And I like to talk about the entrepreneurs behind the businesses as well. So today I'm going to just have a pretty casual conversation with my friend about how he came up, how they started the business, the different things that they've been through. We'll talk about what's been going on this year in 2024 and what we can look forward to in 2025. But Yoni, thanks for joining me, man.
My pleasure. Thanks for having us again.
Yeah, man, always. So, I mean, it's been many years that we've been in the industry, in dog years, as they say, or in entrepreneur years, Amazon years. We're getting pretty old, pretty long in the tooth, as my dad would say. So, you've got to be getting pretty close to hanging it up here. So with the company being acquired and then acquired again, I know that you guys have been there. What's keeping you going?
Honestly, I call it the streets or the sellers. I just genuinely love the entrepreneurial spirit of the industry, of the sellers, from the micropreneurs all the way to the ones that really scaled up very nicely and became a mini empire, maybe not even mini, just genuine empires. I mean, you're a prime example of that. You from a micropreneur to a entrepreneur to kind of a global international business person. You have on the retail side, and you have on the software side, and you have on the community side. You have all these legs of adding value to the industry. So that is a great spirit that I want to believe that I am a part of. But I also like to see how others are participants in it, and we have the stars of today and the stars of tomorrow, how they always kind of cycle. So that's just on a professional, business, and personal level, what attracts me to this industry, beyond the fact that financially it really rewarded me, which is never a bad thing.
Absolutely. And so what did you know Max before you guys got started? What were you doing together, or were you already partners in other businesses or ventures before you started Getida?
Yeah, so first we were friends. So before we did any business, we were friends. We actually met at the local synagogue, right? He was doing accounting for a furniture company. I was doing sales and distribution for a supplements company, and also kind of doing e-commerce stuff for the company. And on the side, we were both kind of very entrepreneurial in our character and nature. And we realized that we can, kind of come together as a team and start selling stuff online. So we started selling stuff on eBay, then on our website. Then we started selling stuff on Amazon at around 2013. So once again, we're friends, really good
and
friends.
That's super early days, right? Like Amazon selling in 2013, FBA had just become a program, and it was just, you were really early to the game.
Yeah, it was kind of the Wild West. And I remember the early days when I was, started selling on Amazon, the business grew very quickly from 0 to 20 million, then to 100 million. And in the early days when, we're doing like already 7 or 8 figures, people asking me like, what do you do for a living? What do you do? So I'm like, I sell stuff online on Amazon, and they all looked at me like I sell stuff on eBay, like, like I'm and
Right.
and I was like, I was so happy about it because they had no clue and idea how powerful Amazon is. I was like,
Right.
this is great that people don't even realize how much demand. It's like a beast. You can't feed enough. So that was the good old days. And then I would say the pivot maybe was around 2017, 18, where like boom, all of a sudden like everybody knew there's something with Amazon or the private label, or white label, you just throw something on it. That was a peak moment of awareness, and now we're at the stage of obviously everybody's aware, but it's super more professional or more advanced or whatever you want to call it on all fronts. Logistics, sourcing, advertising, just every little function of the business is so advanced, and it's compounding the level of speed that's it's advancing because all these bright minds, the brightest minds of the world and most professional minds, not even to mention the Chinese invasion. They're really hardworking, smart, and I mean, it's just a different world.
Absolutely. So that first business that you had, you built it up to a 9-figure business. I imagine it was mostly wholesale.
It was a combination of wholesale. We had then 4 brands of our own. We had in baby, travel, and jewelry. So we were like a mini Macy's, where we were kind of reselling the brands, but we also had our own private label brands.
That's fantastic. And did you end up exiting that business?
We did, but not like so we cashed out in 2019, and it wasn't like a big sale or anything like that. It's more like cashing on our balance sheet. We had like a plus a figure balance sheet, which all the inventory and all the profits that was kind of locked into the business. So we kind of cashed it out so we can really focus on Getida, because what happened back in our peak is that we had so much volume going on. We had $100 million every year to kind of reconcile. We were not able to use spreadsheets anymore. They were breaking. So that kind of pushed us to create kind of 2 things. The first thing was to create software and technology to audit all the data at a massive scale. The second thing was to set up a dedicated team that's exclusively in charge just on, managing the claims and all the back and forth. Because on an annual basis, we saw that the discrepancy rate was between 1% to 3%, which is $1 to 3 million for us. So it was very material that we had to take action to create an airtight solution. So we created effectively the solution for ourselves. But then we told our friends from the industry that we have these capabilities. So they told us, help us, we'll pay you. And that was the early genesis of Getida back in 2015. And then organically for 3-4 years, it just kind of grew from, word of mouth. But then we have kind of 2 successful businesses. And in that junction, we made the strategic decision to cash out of retail and focus most of, all of our attention and motivation and energy and creativity in one place instead of 2 places. And from that point on, I would say we kind of took leadership on the niche, because we're definitely not the first, second, fourth, or 40th, I don't even know, to enter to this game. And but over the years, we kind of entered this reality where I believe today we're probably the largest organization in the world focused exclusively on this mission of maximizing ABA auditing and reimbursements. We have a team of 230 employees in 12 countries. We're backed up by private equity. So I think that strategically it made sense for us. Because if I drill deeper into the junction, we felt it was very challenging to have these two businesses scaling up. But even more importantly for us was the authenticity or the honesty, because when we had $1 million that we shipped to Amazon for our retail business, and then we had another seller that's also shipping $1 million to Amazon, our $1 million always came first if there was an issue. So once we detach from that, and the only issues that we have is really our user base and our sellers, that made all the difference in the world. So that was much easier to stay authentic and close to the heart of their needs, and really take this adventure to a different level which we live in today. So that was kind of the logic that dictated us back then. But we also kind of felt that if this fails, we can always go back to the retail activity. That's why we never sold our brands because we said, okay, let's jump into this, do this more, cash out of the balance sheet, and if we ever need it, this vessel will have something to turn back to.
Yeah, and it seems like it was the right decision. I mean, you've had multiple exits now. I can imagine that you're in a position, right, in 2015, 16 with so many thousands of SKUs that your spreadsheets are breaking. So you have to build and engineer some software to do accounting essentially. And so this is where Max's background as an accountant comes in, I imagine, where he's able to look at the books and really understand and to reconcile the numbers to understand what that discrepancy is between what Amazon is saying and what they really owe you and what you're receiving, right?
No, it was actually, it was more, so back in the day, I was the COO, the chief operating officer, and he was the CEO. He was really focused on the sourcing, on the wholesale side, but also the private label. and I was kind of making sure everything clicks along. So early days, I was just doing it myself with all the spreadsheets, and then I taught my team how to do it. And then, the skill.
So he didn't even use his background in accounting to do all the spreadsheets and do everything.
No, not at all. It's just we mostly use Paranoia. I'll give you an example. Even when our first shipment that we shipped to FBA, I remember it was like $10,000 worth. And back then, $10,000 for us was a fortune. That was like our life savings. But because before that, we did it like FBA, fulfilled by merchant. So we didn't just ship it to Amazon and take it for granted. We said, okay, we're going to ship our life savings to Amazon. We're going to call these guys and ask what's going on. If something gets lost or damaged or destroyed, what's your policy? Who are you guys? Because today Amazon's a big beast, but back then it was like, who are you? So we called it in. I called it in. What's your policy? What's going on? This and that. I said, oh, go to this page and that page. That's our policy, and this is the rule, and this is regulation. If anything happens, you do this, you do that. The Paranoia. So based on that, we're able to kind of see all the ingredients and all the components. And lo and behold, once we shipped our first FBA shipment, we shipped 116 units. The 3 units were missing, so they only received 113. Okay, so we followed the policies and regulations and rules, and then the research, and they said, okay, they investigated, and it's missing, and they pay us a reimbursement. Said, okay, these guys are transparent, they're fair, they're honest, we can do probably a lot of business together. And then we started to really compounding until the shipments really became kind of big. That was the common sense logic of Paranoia that carried us through the first step and all the steps. So we constantly reconciled and checked through the spreadsheets and the data and the reports. And what happened was I got a little bit lucky because we had a big part of our fulfillment team. There were students from college, they needed a job, and they were learning computer science, programming. And that was the foundation. I said, hey guys, do you actually understand how this all works, the fulfillment and all the systems that we use to send that to fulfillment? I want to take you to the back end room to tell you what do we do afterwards when they actually ship to Amazon, all these issues start to happen. So we're using all this logic, all this data, all these spreadsheets. It's a lot of work. It's just breaking. What can we do to automate some of it, all of it, or whatever it is? So that was the original foundation of the tech. So they put it all together. It was scrappy, and then a bit better, and then a bit better, and then a bit better. Then it became a really, then so from I think one of them was we started with maybe $11 or $12 an hour back in the day. Back in the day when we finished with us, he was already making, I think, over 100 grand. And then the next job that he got after that, it was like, I don't know, 200, 250 or more with software development. So it was a really proud moment where you take somebody part-time, paying him, kind of minimum. And then they realized they have so much talent and they were just learning it or studying it. They're not officially with their degrees or whatever. So we said, whatever you got to do to figure it out, go online and figure it out. We'll pay you for your time. And they did that. They had to go to this forum and this and that. And they figured it out. That's the amazing world of tech and people really into the tech. You just figure it out. All these diplomas don't really matter unless you really know how to come in and drill and solve problems. That's usually, from my experience, that's the best kind of the tech employees you can wish for.
Yeah, I love to learn and study. So I did the Clifton Strengths. I don't know if you've ever done it or heard of it, but it's for anyone listening, it's phenomenal. It's called. There's a book called Strengths Finder, and you take a test. And at the end of the test, it has 34 talents that are supposed to develop into strengths, but that's why it's called Strengths Finder. But it takes your 34 talents and it orders them from your strongest to your weakest. The premise is that in America, especially, but most people, what they do is they learn in school that they have to work on their weakest weak points, right? Their weakest strengths or talents. And that's the wrong way to think about it, because if that's just not naturally who you are or what you're good at, then the most you're ever going to do with a lot of effort, you're going to pull that lever and you're going to put a lot of effort into it. And a lot of times you're just going to take that and you're going to become okay at it. So if you think about different levels of being terrible at something, being bad, you go from terrible to bad to okay to good to great, right? You have all this level of how good you can get at something and how bad you are. If you take one of those talents and you're just bad at it, you with a lot of effort, you might get okay at it, right? You're not gonna ever be great at it or good at it. And so the premise is that you can take something that is just naturally compelling for you or that you have a natural talent for, and you can become great at it. And so you should focus on those top 10 and probably ignore those bottom 10. And in between, you can just realize and mitigate those. But you have to hire the right people around you. And the number one strength for me is learning. And so I really enjoy learning. But each of these strengths also has their own blind side, they call it, or blind spot. And what's interesting about your blind spot is that you have to understand yourself. Like understanding yourself and the people around you is like a strong key to being successful in life, whether it's your marriage, whether it's your partnerships, whether it's your business. If you understand yourself at a really high level and you understand the people around you at a really high level, then you can understand how to navigate these relationships and achieve amazing things, right? And so that's kind of why I find it so powerful to do this Strengths Finder.
I actually put it down. I'm thinking I'm going to check that out. Clifton Strengths.
I recommend you and your wife do it. I recommend you and your partners do it. I just highly recommend it. So
this is by Gallup. Yeah, it's a big brand. It's a big
Gallup is phenomenal. Yeah, and so my blind spot as a learner is that I get frustrated when people don't go above and beyond, or you know, they don't go and learn things on their own, or I expect them to go figure things out and then they just don't. And some people just not naturally just don't take that extra step or don't understand, you know, how to go learn or go find it, and they, you know, it's out of their comfort zone type of thing. So but from the learning side, I enjoy hearing these stories that you go through and that we went through, where you know, you hire someone that has a natural talent to supplement and to come in and do something. But we had to figure out Amazon, right? Like in the early days, you take your life savings, right? And you're trusting that this is going to be good. And I remember going with Jennifer in 2015, and we had heard what FBA was, and we didn't quite know or trust it. And I was like, this seems too good to be true. We can leverage this whole warehousing and billions of dollars of infrastructure. And we went to a store, we opened an account, we sent something in, and it sold the same day it arrived, right? And I said, okay. But then we scrapped up some money together. And at this point, I was going through a divorce. I didn't have a lot of cash, and I was Jennifer and I were just dating, and she took her life savings essentially and put this into this business and trusted me as her boyfriend, you know, that we were just dating to start this business together. And I don't think I've ever publicly given her enough credit at all for that. But that was a lot of our startup capital came from her. And so I felt an extreme amount of pressure, right? That if anything goes wrong with this thing, like, you know, this is her life savings type of thing as well. And so I was in the same boat as you. I was calling, I was figuring things out. I was looking for sources. I was out there trying to figure out what else we could buy, what else we could sell. We were packaging these boxes and cartons together, and we were sending them into the ether, right? Like UPS would pick them up, and we're hoping that what arrives on the other side is on our dashboard, that we have that inventory, and then we see those sales start to roll in, right? And you build it up, and nothing can really describe what that feeling is, where you look at your bank balance and it's low, and then, you know, you've trusted it, you've invested, and you've risked everything to go buy some inventory. And I remember we were buying tools very early on, so they were expensive, right? Like $140, you know, drill set, for example. And we would send 40, 50, 80 sets in, and that was like all of our cash. And we'd even charge some on a credit card and then send it in. And they would inevitably make mistakes, and it's expensive units, right? $140 drill set goes missing. You know, a few of those go missing. That's all of your profits from that order. That's your
margin, right? Yeah, right away.
That's your margin, right? So we would have to stay on top of it and you know, figure out how to deal with this. But that journey that you went through with Max as friends and sellers, and then figuring out that there was a need there, and that you could start to, you know, build this whole business. It was kind of like, you know, what we went through with, hey, I want to start teaching this thing, man. And then I was like, oh, we can get paid to teach. We can start a teaching business. And then, hey, we're automating this software and we're doing this thing. And then our tech co-founder Florian joins, and he's like, hey, this needs to be a software. All the data analysis you do needs to be a software. And then that becomes a business.
Yeah, right? That's a romantic part of business, where kind of hit you in the head. You say, hey, this is a problem that could be solved for many others. And that's good, because there's financial gains, but also the pride and the fulfillment and the joy you feel, the accomplishment of solving these issues for so many people. successfully, and obviously it rewards you on the financial side. So that's definitely the romantic side of business, and particularly in the Amazon business world.
Absolutely.
Just to close up on your accounting question on Max. So early on, I actually did the tech and everything with the team, and then for a few years. But then we switched roles, and when we switched roles, that's when we both, I think, calibrated into what you mentioned with the strengths. His strength was really into the analysis and the product, so that's when really things started to scale. I guess I didn't realize that back then, but today I'm more of a people's person, and I'm friendly and all that stuff, and I do okay with conferences, events, communication, performance, podcasting, all that stuff. That's typically very good for the business development and outreach. So when I calibrated into that, he calibrated into that. That's when things started to really, thankfully, scale and grow very quickly, and it kind of clicked really strongly.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that understanding yourself, like I said, at a very deep level, and knowing what you're good at and what you're not good at, and then and the key is, like, if it was two of you, two Yonis, right, it wouldn't be as successful.
No.
Right?
Acknowledge,
you need someone that complements you in your weaknesses, and that you complement them, and then you need to make sure you're in the right seat. So a lot of people, because of ego, because of whatever, they want the title, but they're in the wrong seat, and then that becomes an issue. And so you need a high EQ as well, IQ separate, but then you need a high EQ to where you can really understand yourself and your strengths and your weaknesses, and where you best can serve the business and serve the people around you, so that you can become the most successful.
Not only, but one main outlier that I see out there that always, blows my mind, I just can't get it, is Elon Musk. It's like he kind of runs all these businesses, and you don't typically hear for the other businesses is a better half, right? He has a whole team of geniuses with SpaceX and Tesla, I'm sure, but on the entrepreneurship side, on the partnership side, I'm not familiar unless I'm wrong. But in so many ways, so he's like a real alien when it comes to that.
What he's great at. So I thought about this a lot as well about Elon, because the political stuff aside, which I'm
talking about professionally and
from professionally. If you look at his career, you think about the PayPal mafia, right? So he started, his first big breakout there with PayPal. That was a huge team. That was
Peter Thiel and Peter Thiel and Reid Hoffman and
oh my God, David Sachs. Like if you look at everyone on that, you've got
Reid Hoffman Thiel, Peter Thiel, legendary.
Went on to do incredible things.
He did Facebook, invested early in Facebook.
Very early investor in Facebook. You've got Max Levchin, who was went to a firm and founded a firm. Elon Sachs, who went on for Genie and Yammer. Now he's got another startup, but he just got named to Trump's cabinet. He's a big Trumper. And I think that he's going to be doing something with AI and crypto. He's like the new AI crypto czar, which I think is really important, because you do need someone with a tech background that really understands.
The government needs to adapt. The government needs to adapt and make sure we're in the forefront as a country. Yeah,
absolutely. And it's very scary when you've got people who are 80 years old that barely know how to log into a computer, that are trying to figure out how to regulate AI and cryptocurrency, right? So thankfully, at least that's, there's some good things coming out of Trump's presidency, and it's some of these people he's appointing are depending on your outlook on how big government should be and whatever, maybe questionable, but then you do have some people he's bringing in that we need, right? Scott Bannister, you got an early advisor and board member, and then Rolif Botha, who became a partner at Sequoia Capital, which is one of the biggest venture capital firms in the world.
He's more successful as well, yeah.
Yeah, and then Steve Chen, who went on to found YouTube, co-founder of YouTube. Reid Hoffman.
That's LinkedIn.
Yeah, and he's LinkedIn. Ken Howry, he became a partner at Founders Fund as well, and is in politics. Chad Hurley, he was also partnered on YouTube with Steve Chen. Eric Jackson, he became the CEO of WND Books and co-founded CapLinked. Jawad,
it just goes on and on. This is a major talent mafia, yeah. So
and so you got the co-founder of Yelp in there. You've got Reddit. Some of the biggest
companies. Bang. It's like a big bang, yeah.
So, okay, so then he goes from there, right? You talk about like Elon's movement and what he did after that. you think, okay, then he went on for Tesla was maybe next. This is in 2012, maybe even earlier that he bought Tesla.
Yeah, so he didn't found it. That's what I kind of discovered recently. He wasn't the founder, but
It was 2008. Yeah, he came in as 2008. Now, the idea was there, right? So in all of these businesses that he has, like there's some kind of catalyst or idea, and so sometimes he's the catalyst or somebody else is, but he demands excellence. So a lot of people give him a hard time because he'll walk through, and if he sits in a meeting with an employee he's never met before and he's asking them hard questions that they should know because of the position that they're in and where they've been elevated in the company, he's very fast to fire. And like a lot of people think that that's a lack of empathy. And now he's on the spectrum, and people that are on the spectrum tend to lack the empathy as well. So I mean, that could be it, right? But the reality is, if you demand excellence at a high enough level, that's the only way you can achieve amazing things. And so he's sitting there, and if someone doesn't know the answer to something, then he gets rid of them. Now, what that does is it creates a vacuum of talent that is filled by better talent. And so if you turn over your talent, you're constantly replacing them with someone better who's willing and resilient enough, then you do surround yourself with incredible people who can achieve incredible things, right? And if you just don't take no for an answer, and then you set the bar very high, and then you work backwards from that goal, then you can achieve some incredible things. So it's not that he has one co-founder. Each of these companies has some of the most brilliant engineers and people around him to execute on the ideas that he comes up with. Now, he himself is an engineer and knows things, but I think the Musk idea of maybe he doesn't have that counterpart and it doesn't balance him as much. But in each of these companies, he's got leadership teams that are
he's off the charts. He's off the charts. Unbelievable. Yeah, and amazing. But all my businesses and the ventures so far, I had partners, and we complement each other. So kudos to him for being able to kind of do this solo on the conscience side, at least. I don't know.
It takes a special type of person also, though, to come into a business and to influence and to motivate people to be able to go and work that hard and to execute on this vision, right? Now, I mean, the stories of him sleeping on the Tesla,
Yeah, I actually bought his book by Walter Isaacson, so I'm looking forward to reading that. It's I hear it's pretty intense, so I'm going to dive into that.
But you lead, so you a true leader will lead through by rolling up their sleeves and putting in the hard work, and he's done that as well. So it's not like he would just enact this vision and hire a bunch of people and walk away. And I think that's the shortcut a lot of people that aren't successful do. They feel like the shortcut is just hiring the right people to execute and then to walk away. And the reality is, like, no one's going to care about your vision and your business as much as you. And if you're not there every day putting in the work, especially in the early days, then the business won't make it. It won't survive, and it definitely won't execute at the level that you're expecting it to.
Yeah.
And so that's what I respect most about what you guys have built. You were there, you were sellers, you built this thing, and then you've put in the work. I've seen you. I've been to dozens and dozens of events throughout the year, and your passport, my passport's running out of places for stamps, but you must have gotten a new passport simply because you ran out of places to put stamps. Yeah. And the amount of events and the amount of booths and the amount of talking and the amount of people you've spoken to in the industry dwarfs pretty much anyone in the industry that I've ever met, because you've rolled up your sleeves, you put in those hours away from your family to go develop your business. And so you deserve every ounce of success you've had, my friend.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, humble servant. I just want to mention that I do have a background in, I used to be in the Navy intelligence back in I'm originally from Israel, born and raised in Israel. So when we turn 18 after high school in Israel, we typically don't go to college. We go to the army so
do you think that we should require that in the United States?
It's a big question. To a degree, yes, because it really builds up character. But there's a question of financially, what are you going to do with all this man hours and lady hours, right? What are you going to do? Just go dust the sand in the desert?
I don't think we have a shortage of things to actually go do. If you think
if
about
it,
what if that's a way that we can invest in infrastructure? So Army Corps of Engineers, right?
You got my vote. Yeah, that's a good vision. If you really want to build infrastructure, bridges, roads, bullet trains like they have in China, whatever it is, and you do this national mission, by all means. But a little bit back to my world in Israel, then yeah, I'm not special. Everybody goes, men and women. It's 3 years for men, 2 years for women. And we see that kind of as a curse and a blessing. It's a curse because, okay, we have, the neighborhood it's not so, not so friendly. It's tough. There's all this friction, and outbursts of violence and war. I'm a veteran of a 2006 war with Lebanon. That's kind of the curse side of it. But on the blessing side of it, which you over time afterwards, I began to see it, is the discipline, the hard work, the grind. Because over there, you give 3 years of a life, you dedicate your life for a group of people you don't really know called your country, right? This is literally your day in, day out, all your life, right? And after that, they're saying, okay, why don't you go do this and that kind of job? Okay, it's hard, maybe long hours, but you're not risking your life. And the financial gain can be very rewarding to you and your family. I'm like, sign me up, day in, day out, not a problem for me. So that's kind of a gift that I got from the curse back then, so to speak. That I carry now. So once I go to all these events or whatever needs to be done on the company level or professional level, I just see it as a mission that I get, like I used to get in the Army and the Navy. I just fulfill it and strive to fulfill it. So you have to fulfill it, whatever it is. You can, it's gonna be pain, it's gonna be blood, it's gonna be whatever. As long as you're still alive and you can just dust it off, you keep at it. So that's definitely a thing that carried me so far, and hopefully will keep carrying me into the future. Because once you have a family, you're settled, you got financial success and stuff like that, I don't want to get spoiled, I don't want to get lazy, I don't want to get so that's why I admire Musk. How was he able, after even before PayPal, he had a big exit, I forgot, I think it was like 40 million plus, and then after that he did X, which became part of PayPal, so he pushed it into that, and okay, PayPal, that's when he became a billionaire. He's still at it, grinding, the Tesla and then SpaceX and this and this and that and that. So he has this constant drive to like roll his sleeves and get to the pit. So I admire that, and hopefully I'm still in the pit. I never let myself out of it, so I don't get comfortable or too comfortable. And just I'm looking to the future. I wonder what's the next pit will be, or additional pits will be.
So what he does, what Musk does, is he works backwards from, and it, just so if everyone's listening, it's a small flex, because if 100 people sign up and are enlisted after high school, maybe 2 get selected for the intelligence. So you have to be in the top 2% of applicants that year. So either you had a class full of dummies, or you're really bright. And I'll lean towards the really bright side because I know you.
Yeah, no, I had to invest a whole year before that just to learn Arabic. So it's very narrow. It's even less than the 2%. So but the grind, it goes back to the grind and the ability. So that was tough, but it was a gift. So yeah,
amazing. And so to go back to your story, because I'm gonna follow this up with a question about your future, because you're coming towards the end of your tenure here at Getida. I know that you don't necessarily talk about this publicly and put it out there as much, but what we can talk about, whether it's 6 months from now, 3 months from now, or 2 years from now.
Yeah, I'm already turning 10 years with this industry and business, and it's 10 years, like you said, dog years, like 100 years.
Yeah, absolutely. You're ready for that next chapter. So I think what Elon does is he takes this really big problem he wants to solve, right? Like, so he's been talking about interplanetary species. He's been talking about communications. He's been talking about saving the planet by basically forcing a change in fossil fuel usage for vehicles, right? So these combustion engines, like really, he saw that as long as that remained cheaper, even though batteries and electric vehicles are significantly better in so many ways, there was no incentive for the traditional companies to move to it. So he wanted to create that incentive by disrupting them, right? So he figured out like what his goal was, and then he worked backwards with the most effective way to do these things. And so, and I think the satellites, the communication thing that that SpaceX does, is really just more around a means to help build revenue into this space mission, right? He wants to get to Mars. He wants to solve these big things in space, and the company needs revenue. And the best way to get revenue is to say, we'll take some payloads up. Well, also what can we do? Well, we can do this communications company because we own satellites. What else can we do with satellites, right? And so that's where that came from. So it works backwards from this goal of I need to have this money and funding and do these things, and in order to achieve that goal. So what are the drivers and causes of actually that goal? And then, what do I need to do it? And so he creates this plan and he executes on it. So for you, you're gonna, this e-commerce business altogether, it's a year from now, it's 3 years from now. What is the big goal for you? Have you thought about what you want to achieve next? I mean, you've got a beautiful family. How many children?
4.
Is there a fifth one on the way?
We're trying almost every night. So not yet. Trying every night. So when it clears, God willing, we'll be good.
All right. Yeah. So, you got the family to raise, and that's a big consideration, right? Like Jennifer and I, we want to have children. We want to do more there, and then that drastically limits some of the things you can and cannot do, right? Like you've got a lot of children at home. You got to do things, right, to take care of them and their needs and raise them, and it's a big commitment. So, you've got that for the next X decade or more, 10, 15, 20 years. Mm-hmm. But what is it that you want to achieve? Like, what is the goal? What drives you after this? Like, I know you like to give back and help people, but is there a specific goal, cause, industry that's calling you?
No, not that I can tell at this point to be open and frank about it. I don't have because once if I already had this call or whatever it is, I'll probably not be around. That's when I'm a little trapped into this mission. I'm still in this mission, even though I would say a lot of the mission was accomplished. So I can look back and say, okay, there's a whole team, the whole infrastructure. I can maybe consider adopting or gearing toward hard into a different mission. The reality is I do have investments in the industry and outside the industry. So these investments, I can always kind of say, hey, I know instead of a passive role, I can take more of an active role. That's one option. But it takes me a little bit of a time to settle into a mission, because I really need to see the scope, I need to see the people. It has to be more tangible day in, day out for me to say, okay, I'm locked in and like a bulldog. So I'm not in that transition yet. If anything, I'm still definitely on the Getida side, but also, we're part of a larger corporation now that shares a lot of the DNA and value of what Getida does in other verticals. For example, we have Shipware, a sister company that specializes in carrier auditing, which is UPS and FedEx. So if things are late or they need to order a refund or they overcharge you, there's capabilities there. We also have it for utilities, right? For electric bills, gas bills, waste management, all these things. So over there, it's a bit more, the e-commerce world, the Getida world, it's very micropreneur. And the other verticals, it's much more, I would call it corporate or enterprise. Bank of America is a client, Marriott is a client. So these are big bodies over there that, we help because they have all these locations and all these spend categories. So I'm checking over there also to see, because these are pretty much, I'm a stockholder as well and partner, to see if I can also take some of that passion and drive that Getida has from the micropreneur world into this enterprise world where, okay, we're doing all these things. Because if you really drill down to what Getida does and what the rest of the companies do, it's actually really boring. It's like the most unsexy things you can think of, which is diving into data, making sense of it, and finding opportunity to get a refund or reduce cost. Super boring, but at the end of the day, it hits the bottom line right away. That's sexy. So how to take all this boring aspects of business nobody really wants to do, but give it energy, give it hype, and really excite everybody, because that really fuels the bottom line. And once your bottom line is healthier, you with the organization are healthier, and then you can really empower your mission in a much healthier way. If you want to launch new products or, expand your services, hire new people, whatever it is. So that's how I make those synergistic, holistic connections of dots to have passion for me to what I do and how I help people and organizations. And my whole organization around me is also kind of geared up and fired about it. That's how I found success within this boring niche, to be frank. Just I connected to the human level. For me, it's very important to connect to the human level, to see the faces and meet the people that it's actually helping, and keep those relationships going with them. So I have that on the Getida side and e-commerce. I just wonder if that can be applied as well to executives in Bank of America or the Marriott family or the Hilton family. Who knows? All these sports teams, NFL teams or NBA teams. So there's a whole world out there that I could potentially explore and see if there's an ability to energize it or disrupt it or whatever it is. So that's already in front of me. I'm part of it, but not fully with my time, which I can definitely try to apply.
Yeah, I love that. I think that you can take a service and you can relate it to how you can help people through them, right? As well. So it's not just helping this one corporation, it's empowering them to enact
no, but even if even if in Marriott, but now Marriott can hire more people, and we all go to hotels in Marriott, they can use some more staff. Let's be fair and frank. So if we can really facilitate that because they're just healthier, we improve their cash flow, they make more profit, or their stock is up, or the stockholders, I really try to find the silver lining into what we do. For me, it's really important. So that's a little.
So next time I go to Marriott, or anyone listening goes to Marriott, and you have exceptional service, you have Yoni to thank.
Yeah, there we
because
go.
he's helped them save some money so they can hire some more people, which, and made your service better.
Yeah, what's funny is I did go to China and I stayed in a Marriott, and lo and behold, well, maybe I'll take the credit. They had a robot serving me. So
Yeah.
someone's not, buzzing my door, and I open, it's a robot, and I click, and boom, it opens up with my package. I take it and just leaves. It's amazing.
That's the best. It's absolutely the best.
I've never seen it here in the US, but I've seen it there, and they had to pay for that robot. So hopefully the recoveries we got them helped to pay for that robot.
So what a lot of people, what Yoni's describing, I've had it a few times. So when you get a delivery to the hotel, whether it's food, whether it's you bought something, or whether they need to send something from the front desk, they literally can put it into a robot with a locked drawer. And then that robot can call the elevator. Then it comes off the elevator, goes to your door, and then it rings your phone. Mm-hmm. So like it automatically calls your phone. You get a phone call, and it's in Chinese in China. So you just get an idea that your delivery.
Yeah, but it's cute. They put a little boy's voice in it, which is really cute. It's it's really cute. At least for my delivery boy was a boy, like a boy's voice,
It's very cute. So yeah, then you open the door and the robot says there you have to put in a code or unlock it. You unlock it, and then the door opens. You take your thing, and then you press a button, and then a screen pops up, and it's like a face, a cute little face, and then it makes a beeping sound like
hooray,
you would expect.
Like a hooray, yeah, it makes it the gamified a little bit, yeah.
Like an R2D2 or something. Like we're at this stage now, and even going back to Musk, even Musk thinks that like this is a mission he has, is that everyone will have a robot. He thinks that within the next 10 years there will be more robots than people on the planet.
Wow, that's scary, but if they really do what they're designed to do, hopefully, and the vision for them to do, that'll be a great time for humanities, where they can really take a lot of the burden of cleaning things, cooking things, so the houses that we live in are cleaner, better, whatever you want to call it. That is,
well, the scariest thing to me is this, right? Like, so Elon Musk is set up to be the perfect comic book villain. Because he's got all the data, he's got the communications already with X, he's got all the data from all of the cars, and
he's gonna have the government in his pocket. Yeah,
he's got the satellites. Then he's gonna have the robots in your home. He can hit a button, and all of those robots just immediately go, turn into Terminator.
Then you already know there's some aliens in Mars. They're preparing the grounds for them because he already has the whole shuttles ready to go. So he's gonna have the Mars invasion or something. So who knows? But yeah,
that's true. Maybe he's a good guy, and he realizes the only way we can survive as a species is if we have enough robots to defend us against the Martian invasion, right?
Never know. But I want to stay optimistic. It's scary, to be honest. It has definitely scary spots. I want to be optimistic that we're all trying to create a better world. Despite the friction, and the good things are coming.
Absolutely. Well, so let's talk about current events, right? Like we talk about 2024. I think you and I were speaking briefly before this, and there was a bunch of things happened this year. What do you think about 2024 and some of the topics, some of the challenges that Amazon sellers are facing?
Got it. So definitely I can start with my domain, my area. The FBA program actually started maybe around 2006 or 7, if I'm not mistaken. But it took it a few good years to kind of ramp up and become the humongous thing that it is today. But since then, I know that there have been like minor updates here and there, but this year was kind of pretty much a major update where, there's a few claim types, 3 out of, let's call it 30. So 3 claim types out of 30, they kind of changed. But one of them is really material. It's the lost warehouse. So all the units that get lost within Amazon's warehouses, it used to be that you could go back 18 months and get all these refunds. The look back was 18 months. And they kind of shredded down to only 60 days. That was a major update for my world, my niche, my industry, the FBA auditing and reimbursement. So that's kind of affecting the sellers that never got audited. So if you are hearing this and never got audited and you join Getida, you only got to get 2 months of recovery instead of 18 months. So that's material. But there was a big bull rush because they announced this July 24th, right into the Olympics. People were kind of, losing their focus because the Olympics started, and boom, that's when they did this announcement. But in any case, they gave a 90-day notice. So between July 24th until October 23rd, we had a major bull rush of just sellers freaking out and just joining Getida by the boatloads. So that was a major, it was a major quarter for us. So that was a big change or impact. But now going forward, there's that change. But that's very important to conclude here and realize that that's one major refund out of a whole bunch of others. So it's important to understand it wasn't the most major one. The most major discrepancy, which has no change and still has a lot of value for you, the sellers, is the lost inbound. So you know, when you send your products into FBA, let's say you sent 1,000 units, and instead of getting 1,000 units, you only received 990. That's lost inbound. That's still the most major offender or, you know, issue or discrepancy.
That's where the most amount of money lost or owed to you statistically is. What percentage of all refunds are from lost inbound?
At least 1% or more.
No, right? I'm saying from like of the 100% that Amazon owes you, what percentage is typically lost inbound?
Oh, it's definitely 60 to 70%.
Okay,
Easy.
so the majority,
you know? Yeah, the overwhelming majority. So the other one that got, you know, adjusted can be 20, you know, to 25%, and then depends. There's never, it's not a cookie cutter. It's all like blended averages. So inbound could be anywhere between 20% to 70%. The lost warehouse can be anywhere between 5% to 25% as its peaks. And then you have the other ones that can kind of play into the mix. So another one is if they overcharge you with fees, fulfillment fees, they think your product is larger and heavier, that can be anywhere between 1% to 20 to 30%. So it's blended averages, but consistently inbound is definitely 60% or more. If I have to kind of take the whole book of business over the past 10 years and blend it, it's definitely overwhelming. That's definitely the name of the game. So if you never heard about this or thought about this, if you ever shipped a product to Amazon and you never reconciled it, audited it, there's money, and you can go back 9 months to go back and get all these recoveries. I think if you go into the seller systems, if you're part of the community, I did a few sessions over there to teach the sellers how to do it. So if you want to do this yourselves, you could, welcome to do it. But of course, if you just want to partner with Getida, we do have a seller systems offer where I believe the first $1,000 that we're going to get for you in refunds and reimbursements will be free. So all you got to do is visit getida.com/seller systems, and you're going to be able to claim the offer. Because you got to keep in mind, you could do it yourself or we could do it for you, but also we could do it together. You could do whatever you can do, and whatever you miss out on, we can be the backup. So we're very customizable. Either way you want to choose, we're okay with it. It just goes back to our mission. Our mission is to really make sure that the sellers maximize their reimbursements as much as they can. We could do it through education, where we teach you how to do it, or we could do it for you, all of it, or just parts of it that you want us to do it. So that's how we can, that's how we fulfill our mission. Once again, it all connects back to the mission, like I said, back from the Navy days. So that's a major change that happened in 2024 that, kind of confused a lot of the sellers, because they said, okay, this issue became so small, I don't have anything to claim for. It's not the case. It's like saying, you know what, you can't advertise on PPC keywords. You have all the rest of them, but the PPC keyword is really still a major component of advertising on Amazon. So imagine Amazon cancels that. So all the sellers are going like, I shouldn't be selling on Amazon anymore. No, you could, because there's many other ways to drive traffic, right? You can have a sponsored video, you can have a sponsored ad, you can have influencers, you can have YouTube. There's so many other ways you can bring traffic. So if one leg gets not eliminated but diminished, there's other ways. So same thing for the reimbursement side. One of them got lowered or diminished, but definitely there's other elements that needs to be attended for. So that's in my world on the refund side. I guess other two major components or elements that changed in the industry, which I want to actually borrow your brain power on it or your mindset on it, will be the advertising. What has changed? I think one thing that I know is, I'll talk in a minute, but so advertising, maybe AI, these two components I want to kind of maybe highlight. On the advertising side, I think AMC was introduced, Amazon Marketing Cloud. So that, it's a little bit of, because it seems like there's a black box when it comes to advertising and attribution, but AMC can give you a little bit, more insight, so less haziness. Actually, let's give it to you. What do you think on the advertising? We'll touch that, and then we can touch AI. Main changes or updates, or if you had to summarize 2024 in a few words on the advertising side, what's the major your updates, advantages, changes?
So Amazon Marketing Cloud's interesting. They're trying to give us more data more frequently, but also give us more data from off of Amazon, or at least through the journey of the customer. So Amazon has this really big push where they want brands to be able to have visibility on this customer journey, because typically someone is not necessarily going to buy your product the first time they see it. That's very common. Most of us need to see something multiple times, or at least, become aware of it. And then later when we're shopping for it, we're more likely to convert on it. So we have this opportunity within Amazon's marketing or ads network to advertise in multiple places. Now, it doesn't make sense for a lot of products, but for more expensive products or replenishable products, something where you have a lifetime value for a customer, it might make a lot of sense. And so this data on attribution for these ads is really important for Amazon to show us, because they want us to know that, yeah, this one ad converts very low, but when you do that in combination with your other ads, the overall, you're much more profitable. You get a higher return on ad spend as a whole. So, and so they're trying to really show that story, or paint that story, how much it's true, or how they do it, and how they tilt it, how they sell it. At the end of the day, Amazon's just trying to make more ad revenue from us. But they, as a brand, we need to know that money is being spent in the right way, and that we're making return on that ad spend. Otherwise, we won't do it. So they're trying to create these solutions to help us do that. So as the network gets more sophisticated, the attribution gets better. I think that Amazon is just trying to improve this. It helps them, it helps us ultimately. So
you're saying that they want to obviously have the sellers, which are the clients, right? At this point, where they're shopping for the eyeballs, right? For the attention of the consumer. So they want you to spend more, but in return, they just want to make sure that they can explain to you that they're giving you better or more, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And now they've got the TV, they've got their station, they're buying bigger, more, bigger shows. They're building bigger shows that you've got the ability to market on those shows. Yeah. And then they've got the sports that they're buying into with football and other things that they're doing. So even Mr. Beast has a show coming out on Amazon Network on Prime that, he's got his big YouTube thing that he does, and he gets hundreds of millions of views every episode he puts out, and he's putting out a new episode weekly, which is pretty insane. And he invests millions of dollars to produce each video. Well, now he has this whole show that he's doing with Amazon.
Is it all going to migrate to Amazon, or stay by YouTube and also Amazon?
So the show itself is going to be just Amazon, and they're hoping that enough, people can influence their parents or will subscribe and get a Prime subscription from that, and there'll be a positive ROI for.
But is he going to keep his YouTube channel or detach from that?
Oh yeah, he's going to continue to do what he does for his YouTube channel, in conjunction with what he's doing. So he has his gaming channel, he has his regular show, and it's a phenomenal machine that he's built for content creation, because every idea has to be bigger and different than the previous. He can revisit some ideas if
he's a kid. He's still in his 20s, early 20s or mid 20s.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe late 20s. Yeah, it's phenomenal that he's built up this billion-dollar empire based on great content and the premise of reinvesting that content and providing value. So those eyeballs, the attention he has is just too big, right? At some point, he's gotten too big, because the amount of views he gets is like 10 times what a Super Bowl gets. So if you think about how much a commercial is for a Super Bowl, it's $1 million for 30 seconds or a couple $1 million for 30 seconds. He's getting 10 Super Bowls every single week and so how much can he charge an advertiser? At what point does it not make sense for the advertiser?
Yeah, he's 26. That kid is 26 years old. It's remarkable.
Yeah, remarkable. And so, the bottom line is Amazon's investing in attention, because then they can sell that attention to brands, right? Same thing kind of Mr. Beast is doing, where he's
the attention, just to add to that a little bit, the attention comes from culture. You have the culture in your hands. That's why they bought MGM Studios, so you can produce feature films and everything like that, and then also the TV shows, but also you can you can obviously sell the merch.
Yeah,
if you own the culture, you own the merch. So it totally makes sense on the integration, but also sell the ads all around it to your large millions of seller user base. So or just you have DSP, which you can just buy regular ads if you're just a major regular corporation. So the whole ecosystem makes sense. They can
plug in the gaps with DSP, but they can sell the ads specifically for shows to the millions of brands that are on Amazon, right?
CPG brands, Procter & Gamble's of the world.
Well, even the smaller, that's the thing, they're making it more accessible for smaller brands. So like my toy brand, which is a $20 million brand, now it's possible. Yeah, they've democratized advertising on television, essentially.
So stream, 2025 in the future.
Television.
Yeah, the democratizing of ads, that's looking to the future. That's really, I think, appealing or exciting to the micropreneur sellers. That
it can be, right? Yeah, as I need to know, is it worth the experiment for me to spend $5,000 or $10,000 in a month or a couple months to see what that return is, right? And if Amazon has really good dashboards and can tell me at least some metrics there, then maybe I can find that it is worth it. but I need to know that I get a lift in the rest of my business from it. I need to know that it's a positive ROI, and that's what AMC is like the foundation of, I think.
No, because I want to see the first, Amazon-born brand that graduates all these milestones all the way into using Amazon's app platform for the live sports games like NFL or NBA.
I'm sure it's already happened. I mean, some of these, there's
Amazon
been major
native
brands.
Not major brands. Amazon native brand was born on Amazon.
Yeah, Amazon native brands. So if you think about Simple Modern, was an Amazon started brand. It's a multi-$100 million brand sold in Walmart. Now they're expanding to they have other brands, and then they have other.
There we go. So we got our winner. That's amazing.
And then you've got Anchor. Anchor started on Amazon. That's $1 billion brand. The best in the world at cables and electronics, and now they're in Walmart and they're in different stores. You have I think Casper, the mattress company, I think started on Amazon.
I didn't know that.
One of the mattresses companies, or multiple, started on Amazon. Just rolled up mattresses and they probably rolled up the mattresses and vacuum sealed them because of storage fees and fulfillment costs, right?
100%.
And so out of necessity, you create this market advantage, right? And then you can use that market advantage to scale, and becomes attractive, and you just create a great product with an advantage like that.
Now, so that is advertising. And a quick note into the AI 2024 and what's coming up 25 and beyond.
Well, I think AI content is going to be the future. Amazon just rolled out in beta the ability for brands to create lifestyle images with AI for their product. So you can upload some images of your product. You can describe it, what you want in that image, and you can say, okay, here's my toy. I want it in, on a plush carpet with a little baby.
E-content. What's e-content? You ever heard of Max Sinclair? He has e-content. That's what his platform does. So you prompt it. Yeah, so that you can do inside of Amazon, and there's also outside Amazon tools that specialize.
Yeah, there's a few tools out there. I hadn't heard of that one. When I was at Shop Talk, there was a company that had just launched 2 weeks before I was there called Maker.ai. Haven't tried it, but they take your image and all the angles. They train their agent on it, and then it'll spit back unlimited A+ content, lifestyle images, things like that. And so I think the future is AI-driven content, but I'm also using AI now to design my products, right? So I spend time getting an idea from AI. So a ChatGPT, a language model, will tell me, hey, we've analyzed all these reviews, and we built this into Data Dive. So hey, we analyzed all the reviews of the competitors. Here's how you should make this product better. Well, I need to go test that. I test that, but I'm getting that initial idea. And then once I validate that people really want that, then I use a different AI. I use Midjourney to go create a new product with those features, with those designs. And then I need to find out whether that's good. So I go and ask a real audience. So I use something like PickFu or IntelliV or Product Pinion. And all of those guys have integrated AI to analyze the results from the market test. And then the AI comes back and summarizes and say, yay, people actually did like that idea. So then I go and I make that product. And then when it comes back, I use AI to help me write a better listing. I use AI to impact my ads eventually. Like next year when Amazon or when Data Dive launches ads management platform, we're going to be very strong in data analysis. And then they're going to have underlying AI agents that are going to be analyzing that data, making suggestions on how to improve your ads and your optimization, your SEO. So yeah,
it's incredible. It's
almost at every step of the road. Every part. Yeah, every part.
But also, Rufus was introduced this year, right? 2024.
Yeah, I like to call it Doofus.
So yeah, I mean, were you thinking gonna stay Doofus or looking in 25, 26 and beyond? Well, I mean, obviously this, I realize how it affects, I guess, the consumer side, but how is it gonna affect the sellers? Is there gonna be a whole play and game about Rufus SEO optimization? So
it's 100% necessary to be thinking about semantic match for AI already, right? So previously everything was keyword based, algorithmic. There was a specific way that Amazon was reading your listing based on what you wrote. And then they would have their algorithm try to tie that into other search terms, subcategories, word banks, and give you some kind of indexing credit. Now the AI is reading your listing in addition to that. But your back-end attributes that a lot of people neglect, are not filled out properly, then that influences what the AI is already setting as its guardrails. So you need to fill that in correctly. Then the AI will go read your listing and what you wrote, and then make sure it makes sense, and then try through these word banks and a word association, give you a certain amount of indexing credit. Now, this indexing credit, you can think of like a relevancy score. And if that relevancy score is too low, then you're hurting your ability to rank on a keyword. So there's algorithmic elements to this still that are very important. And so you need to understand how to do both, and you need to be able to reverse engineer.
And how would you recommend sellers to even set up the ability to, follow all these changes and adapt? What's the best way? Is there a best way or a technique or setup?
Use data dive and learn from seller systems.
There we go.
So we're building all these things. We're running massive studies. Right now, Danny McMillan from Seller Sessions is running over 100 products through data dive with a bunch of tests on back-end semantic testing, trying to crack the algorithm in a way. And so we're going to be putting together. He's got a 20-page white paper that he's putting out, on this matter. He just did something with Awana as well. I think they just put something out about the back-end attributions. So there's really smart people in the industry that are tackling this thing. The key for us is how do we build this into the software so that it does this for you, so that it understands how to talk to Amazon's AI, but also how to talk to its algorithm, so that you have that sweet spot between math and science.
Yeah, so it seems to me like, to stay on top of this, you have to kind of tap into the network effect, and that's what you bring here. You bring the network effect of the sales system community and beyond, but also roll it all up to the tech once it all kind of gets validated and tested and tried, so you can actually have the suite of tools to immediately implement all these lessons learned in real time. So it's a really important thing for the anybody watching or listening to this. If you can't adapt here, you're gonna die. So adapting is surviving, and surviving is thriving in this industry.
Now, the U.S. military has, specifically the Marines, is improvise, adapt, and overcome.
Mm-hmm.
What do they say in the Israeli army?
I mean, there's all these units have all these slogans, but in my unit, though, Navy Intelligence, it was more like still water runs deep. Still water runs deep. So you just gotta, like if you take a drop of water and put on a rock, it's still gonna penetrate. Even doesn't matter how hard the rock is, and it's gonna go deep. So that's being still is really the staying focused and dedicated and staying put. So if your mind is, you want to put it in, stay put at cracking the Amazon code and succeeding, you have to be still and focused. So keep at it, and you'll break the hardest rock, and you'll go deep. So
I love that on so many ways, because I've seen so many entrepreneurs come in, and there's a lot of personality, right? And I had that issue myself, right? So coming out of college, I went into Morgan Stanley, and then I was supposed to go into my family business, and I worked there. My father passed, and then I just went through idea after idea after idea after idea, right? And failure after failure after failure. And so as an entrepreneur, you have shiny object syndrome. And, you're like, people go through this thing where they start to learn, and then they inevitably hit hard times and fail. And instead of doubling down and learning from that failure and then becoming great at something, then they typically will find something else that's more attractive, another opportunity, something else someone's talking about, whatever's trending. And then they move on over to that, but then go through that same cycle. And, you just have cycle of failure after failure. And the success that I've had, and the success that the hundreds of students that have become millionaires through our teachings, is because they basically burn the boats. And there's a book called Burn the Boats, I think, which is phenomenal, that you should read. But it's like, there is no plan B. Your plan B is a distraction from plan A and gives you an excuse to quit. So if you think about why we were successful with Amazon, we had our failures. We lost all of our inventory, like on a third product. We had it seized at the port because of a mistake we made. We've had many products that have not launched and succeeded, but it was the post-mortem breakdown as to why we failed that led to the success and the breakthrough for the next product in our business, and eventually helped us take off. So being laser focused and still water runs deep. That's the one.
I like that. Still water runs deep. So I got two takeaways here. Burn the Boats. It's a book by it's my to read list. It's by Matt Higgins, and the second is the CliftonStrengths test I gotta do. So you gave me some good homework here on the session. So that's great.
Well, my friend, it's always great to catch up. Where am I seeing you next? Because there's a lot of events towards the end of the year here. We got the holidays. We enjoy the family.
Yeah,
Happy
we can always
Hanukkah.
trust, I guess, that they Happy Hanukkah and Merry Christmas to everybody, but Happy Holidays. We can also, I guess, have in March Vegas, the Prosper Show, as an anchor to see a lot of the whole industry kind of grouped together. So it's probably going to be around that section.
So I'm going over to Europe this year. I'm going to go speak in Prague. Are you going to be in Prague?
This is Augustus Kligus, right? The Orange Click?
Yeah. Orange Click, Augustus?
Yeah. That's a bit of a stretch. So I got probably Cancun to go and Prosper Show in Vegas. Then what else is potentially Iceland with Kevin King. So I gotta choose my battles. And I can't have it all.
And Camp Ecom for our event is going to be in Cancun this year in May.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, I need to adjust.
So I'll get those dates to you. We officially are signing the paperwork. We've been going back and forth with the venue, and we're just, as a matter of fact, I got to make a video and ask my audience whether they want to do a third day or not. I have homework that I have to get, but I'll see you around the world, my friend. If you come down and visit Max in South Florida, make sure you let me know. I'm happy to meet up with you guys. I owe Max lunch. Yeah. We were supposed to get together many times already, and I feel like I need to drive up and see him and catch up with him as well.
Yeah, we'll come. All good. Thank you so much again for having us. Wishing everybody a great end of the year. Lots of work ahead. We're staying still, and hopefully we're going to go deep.
Yep. Happy New Year, everyone, and good to see you. Take care.